Hello guys, and what is up, and welcome back to another episode of Main Assembly. This is part 2 of the 3-part series on the Avengers Helicarrier, where we build the Helicarrier seen in the Avengers movies in Main Assembly. You might notice that things are looking a little different around here, and that's because I recorded this intro after the whole meat of the video was done, and all the detailing was done. Spoiler alert. But if you want to see how we got here, then I'll show you. Okay guys, so before we get started, I'm going to do a general recap of how this thing is supposed to work. So this thing, unlike a normal quadcopter, which kind of leans in the direction that it wants to go, is actually going to be hovering pretty much level. The forward thrust is going to be generated by these 2 jet engines right here. I might add more, I might not, depending on how much we actually need. And depending how fast this thing goes. I don't aim to go crazy fast, but I just want to get some decent speed in the air. Like maybe, 50 miles an hour-ish. And then these boosters in the back are going to be for like heavy accelerating if we need to use them. But seriously, let's face it, boosters are cool. And they're probably just there, just for show. I think we can agree on that. Am I right? Okay, so to start off, one of the first things you'll notice about the Helicarrier is in the front. At least that's where I'll be starting. So in the front, there's these 2 large antennas which kind of poke out, but they're these really big antennas and they just kind of poke out like teeth or something, I don't know. And to create those, I'm just going to use small pistons. Thanks to the most recent update of Main Assembly, you now have smaller variants of different things, and that just looks kind of weird. So to fix that, I'm going to use hinges.
A few moments later.
I'm going to be using small hinges just so the larger ones don't poke out and create this really obnoxious kind of look to it. So I'm going to move that guy over here. Dang, I thought these things could bend further. I guess I'll have to put these on top, sadly enough. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to plop it probably about right there. And same thing with this one. Hope those are centered up. And then we're going to unfold these to their full 90-degree extension. I'm going to bring these out like this. Scooch this guy down and scooch it all the way there. Now we have our antenna mounts, and then we can just plop these pistons right on top. Now since these are looking kind of short, I'm going to extend them a little bit, probably maybe that, or maybe even a little bit more. Yeah, that looks more like it. So 10 centimeter extension to create that look of an antenna. I'm going to shrink that back down, and same with this one. So that's the front antennas. So next thing we'll be working on is the Watchtower. So here we go. I have the basic outline of the Watchtower already laid out, and I did that actually last episode. I think that probably should have gone into this episode, but I just wanted to knock out this runway and parking area for all the jets and stuff, just to see how everything would fit, get a general idea of how it all look. And today we'll be kind of adding a little bit more detail to this whole tower. So what I want to do is I want to put another sort of building section right here. Not sure how that I could do that, but I think what I'll do is I'll actually use a mini, I guess you could call these mini attachment points, or small attachment points. And then I guess I'll put a black carbon fiber piece right there. Because this thing looks a little bit like a hexagon, I'll just kind of do something like this, I guess. I'm not quite sure. So I'll move that there, make the walls, the basic walls. Scooch that down, and finally, if I can actually reach it, move this right here. Then what I think I'll do here is I'll actually have like a little plexiglass window sort of thing right here, and I'll do the same thing for the other side. So that there and that there. And for this last little part here, this is really small. I'm just going to do that, and then same thing for the other side. This and this. So there's our basic section of our watchtower almost done because I gotta cover this up a little bit. Don't want an exposed window like that, where stuff could just fly in. That wouldn't be too great. So I'm going to bring that down, and I'm going to bring this part down, and there we go. We have a little bit of a tower extension, sort of, on our watchtower. And you know what? I think I'll actually expand these things to fit, too. Because why not? Let's move this back. Scooch this one about right there. And this one about in line with this. Now I'm just going to do a little final expansion of this little bubble section, I guess you could call it, so we can actually sort of create the illusion of it being connected to the rest of this watchtower. And to do that, I'm basically going to drag these out a little bit like this, and then just attach them to a point that's pretty much on or inside that body. Okay, so this thing seems to actually be symmetrical for the most part, so that's a good sign, I think. No, it's not. So I gotta fix this. Okay guys, so for the most part, this little extra section here is pretty much complete, except that I want to change the material and get rid of a lot of these frames, so I'm going to go ahead and do that.
A few moments later.
Finally, I'm going to change the material on some of these pieces to create little windows. And I'm actually, instead of using light plexiglass, which has minimal distortion, I'm actually going to be using the, what is this stuff? Normal plexiglass, which has a little bit of distortion, because I want to actually be able to see the windows slightly. I don't know how much this will actually help, but we'll figure that out. See, and like at this angle, we can actually kind of get the idea that there's a window here, although it's still pretty hard to see. And I'm doing this mostly because I don't want it to look like it's just hollow space, where it's like, huh, there's nothing really there. And you know what, I might even put a little table in there, so let's try that. Let's just go in here. Oh, this is a cute cockpit thingy. Oh jeez, hard to tell what I'm looking at. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to put this, I guess, right here? No. So I'm going to move this guy around a little bit. There we go. So we got a little bit of, I guess you could call it in quotation marks, furniture? Not quite furniture, but I mean, you get the idea. And you know what? I might even put a camera in here. I have no idea. We'll save that for next episode. But next thing I want to do is add some bay doors. I don't exactly know if this is a feature on the Helicarrier that's actually in the movie, but I'm thinking about right here would be a good spot to add some little opening doors, so maybe later on in the game, whenever those updates come by, we can actually drop things out of these doors, like bombs or something. That'd be pretty cool. Or even right now, we could just use the detachable attachment points to put little fake bombs on this, and then we could just drop them. That'd be pretty cool. So to create this door, I'm just going to get rid of this part right here. And then all we're going to do really is just get hinges. Or maybe we can use servos, although I don't think that would be necessarily looking too great. So yeah, I think I'll just stick with hinges. So to create this door, I'm just going to put a hinge here and center up here. So we're going to rotate these, both of these, and okay, that didn't go the way I wanted it to.
A few moments later.
I'm going to put one there and one here. Next thing I'll do is shrink down this panel a little bit so we can actually use it as a door. And then I'm just going to expand it until we basically get the size that we're looking for. So I'm going to do about maybe that much, let it center itself. Yeah, okay, and then we're going to expand it like this, and the same way this way. And we're actually going to do this the easy way for the other side, where we're just going to middle click, and place it down and rotate it. Basically what this does is it just gives us the same exact part that this side is, and it just puts it on this side, but in this case I'll need to flip this around. Not what I intended to do, but okay.
A few moments later.
Cool. So now we have our basic hinge system in, almost. We just got to close these doors up a little bit more. And to do that, we can just do this, and possibly even one more time. Perfect. And I think the next thing we want to do is just make it so these kind of nicely... Actually, you know what? They kind of do seal it up all nice. But either way, I'll just put a little extra door doohickey right here. So it just covers up this gap all nice. And we don't have all these weird gaps facing pretty much everywhere. So I'm going to do that up and in. And we're good. So now we have a door system, and I'm just going to get rid of these frames, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so now our doors are pretty much complete, so if we open them, they should end up looking something like this. Which honestly looks pretty good. I like it. And for the most part, it blends in pretty nicely, so if I were to lock this chassis... oh yeah, we've got to lock these. Never mind, we can unlock that. No, we don't want to do that. These bomb doors are looking really good when you lock them, and they look pretty much like real bomb doors, or bay doors, I guess you could call them also, where they just kind of sit there, open and close, and they blend in with the rest of the body, which is really nice. Next thing I want to do is switch out these propellers, mostly because we have these new ones that were introduced in the latest update of the game, which honestly look a whole lot better with this body than these black two-blade ones do. So I'm going to switch these things out.
A few moments later.
Okay guys, you may realize that our location has changed, and that's because it has. All I did was just do a little bit of a flight test with these new propellers to make sure that they're all spinning the right way, and that's how everything seems to be, which is really nice. This thing does tend to lean forward pretty sharply upon liftoff, simply because of the different weights on the front and the back and sort of things like that. You know what? I'll get rid of the weights in the front just to see if we can't balance this thing out a little bit more. It looks a lot better flying. Actually, that's actually not bad. Pretty impressed. Okay. Sweet. Of course, programming the stabilization system and everything else, that's going to be for next episode. But anyway, let's keep going. Okay guys, so for the next thing that I want to do is actually to create some little fake bomb things that'll work for now, that can just drop right out of this thing, out of the bay doors, onto basically whatever's below. This will be kind of cool. So to do that, I'm just going to make a basic kit of little bombs that are built on the detachable attachment point thingy, which will hopefully work really well. So let's get started. Okay guys, so here's our little bomb. It's pretty small, basic, cute, I guess even. Not so much when you're looking straight at it, but either way. This thing should ideally fall in a little bit of a spiral, so when it falls it just kind of spins, and that would be just to keep it on target and accurate, although how we're actually going to target it, I have no idea. Might be just one of those dummy bombs that you just drop from a height and hope it hits. But otherwise, I think that this thing is basically done. What I want to do, though, is just for a quick test, I want to drop it just to see what happens. So I'm going to plop that there, I'm going to go to the programming menu, and in this outrageous amount of boosters, I'm going to go find the detachable, detach, and I'm just going to put that on just a random key. So I'll press, I don't know, like something like R, maybe left click, let's just do left click. So let's get into this thing, and then we want to drop it. Not quite sure how it looked falling, but hopefully it worked. So we have rotation on the little bombs. I don't think it's going to matter too much once we put it inside, so I'm going to turn this into a kit, and I'm just going to call it dummy bomb. So the way this whole bomb bay is going to work, I guess I'll just program it right now because I want to get that done with, is basically these doors are going to open with the push of a button, and then we push another button and these fall out. So actually with this bomb drop, I want to see the bomb actually fall out of the doors just because that would be pretty cool to watch. So I'm just going to put a little camera right here, and then I guess I'll just set this camera up so it opens with the bomb bay doors. Wherever that camera is, here it is, activate, and then, let's see, where is it? Toggle, and this is going to be, actually, you know what, we don't even need that. We can just chuck it right onto this too. So we have these all hooked up. So now we should be able to see the bomb. Okay, nope, never mind, too close. A bit more bomb fiddling and camera testing later. Oh, that's awesome. Whee! Oh, that's cute. I love that. And to finish things off, I'm just going to put a few more bombs in here, just so we can have more of a payload to drop. And then after that, I think we'll be all good. Who knows, we might even rearrange these bombs so they actually line up on the sides here, so that would be pretty cool. So if we line them on the sides, then we can store a lot more bombs that way, and we can have a lot more drop out. So go to the program menu, find our detachables, not our hinges, our detachables, and then we detach and detach. Wonder actually what would happen if I I drop the bombs and they're just sitting there. Okay, that kind of works. So we're going to respawn this guy, open the bomb doors, and watch them fly out. Awesome. Oh geez, just sitting in this thing while it's just flying out of control, it's just crazy. Oh. Oh. Okay. So I guess next up is going to be detailing on this runway. And this is going to be kind of tricky because there's no real easy way to make lines in this game that is like painted stripes. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this, but I'll try my best. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to take an attachment point. I'm going to plop it right onto, I guess maybe onto the bottom of this thing, if I can actually reach it. Okay. And then I'm going to put a chassis there, and I'm going to color it white. And then I'm just going to extrude it to a point where it's barely poking up above this runway, and then we'll see how that actually ends up looking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this guy down, if I can even reach it. Here we go. I'm going to shrink it down about yay much. And maybe even a little bit more. I love it how you can actually see through this thing when you're in chassis mode. It really helps out. Thank you, devs. So then I'm going to extend this the whole length. Actually, that looks about right. Oh, jeez, that's not good. So you know what? I think we'll have to move this more towards the middle. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to scooch this guy all the way into the middle. Actually, you know what? I could just invert it too. So we'll grab you, we'll invert it, and now it's underneath. And now we can just grab this, extrude, and extrude. Actually, you know what? Let's just do it all in one piece. And we rotate it so it lines up. Not quite lined up, but I think that's about as good as we're going to get. And then I'm going to scooch it further down, like so. Like about there. Except that one went down slightly. I don't want it to go down like that. Grab this a little bit further. And there we go. I think I can actually make it a little bit shorter because that looks a little too thick. There we go. I don't want it to poke out beyond the actual runway because then that would just be really weird. But otherwise, I think we're good. Yeah, I like it. So I'm going to do this, eliminate these, and we're good. There we go from each side. Now we have a nice little line just kind of cutting through this thing. So that's cool. Our runway, I guess we could call done because I'm not quite sure how much more detail we can fit onto this thing. But otherwise, I think we're good on this. So I'm just going to delete these small things and then we'll do the same thing on the roof of this thing because in the movie this whole roof is basically just one giant runway. So we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to go down here, we're going to grab a small attachment. Oh no, there we go. I'm going to put it probably about right here. We're going to grab an aeroplastic plate, we're going to do this. Shrink it down to a nice size for a line, and then we're going to extrude it but going up. Just enough so it pokes up on top of the roof. And we'll simply extrude it all the way out and we'll have our nice line. And there we go, we have our line. I'm just going to delete all these little endpoints and we're good. So there's our line. I think I'm actually going to bring it down a little bit more just so we can kind of finesse it underneath this runway so we don't have to deal with looking at that weird endpoint, and that looks a lot better. And I'm just going to scooch this guy in a little bit. Same with this one, so we don't have to look at that either. And there we go. Awesome. So we got our lines for a runway, sort of. We have that line for that runway. We got a few more small details, like the antennas and the bomb bay doors, as well as the little bombs inside. So guys, if you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, give this video a like if you like the content. And if you got any other ideas for me to do in other videos, be sure to put those down in the description, and I will see them. Until next time, thanks for watching, and goodbye!